Hi everyone and welcome to Educator HQ. Today we're going to talk about the new workplace laws that are coming into play in 2023, in a month actually. And these new workplace laws mean really big changes to the way educators can negotiate for pay and conditions. And I know there's been a lot of discussion online. There's been a lot of posts up about these new workplace laws. But what does it actually mean for the sector? So I thought it'd be good if I tried my best to explain what it means, because it is a little bit complicated. So currently around 15% of all workers across the country in all sectors and industries, not early childhood specific, are covered by enterprise bargaining agreements or collective bargaining agreements. You might have heard these agreements referred to as EBAs. You'll find a lot of community-based centres are on EBAs. They're on, fantastic above award wages and conditions. Good Start have an EBA. Those services have had their members fight for EBAs, which is fantastic as well for all the educators in Good Start. But what is an EBA? So an EBA is basically a pay deal struck between employees, so us as educators, and the employer, so who you work for, who the owner is, or the group or company that you work for. And then once everyone's agreed or reached an agreement to what those conditions are going to be, it then goes off to Fair Work and it gets approved. Now, anyone who is on an EBA currently and has been part of a negotiating process knows that this can be complicated, it can be drawn out, it can be tricky, and it takes time. And then you have to renegotiate that when each agreement is finished. So what the government wants is for that 15% of workplaces that are on EBAs across the country, across all sectors and industries, what they want is for that percentage to be much higher. Why? Why does the government want us to be on better wages and conditions and on these agreements? Well, they're saying that it makes workplaces getting onto agreements, ensuring that workers get better wages. So that's it at the end of the day. More workplaces signing onto agreements mean that more people get better wages. And that's what we all want, right? So it's good that we align with the government on that. It's fantastic. But what this new law also allows for is to make the process for different agreements that cover more than just one employer, it makes that a smoother process to navigate. So that's where early childhood comes in. And that's why we're front and centre of these new laws, because multi-employer bargaining, so it's not an EBA with just one workplace on one agreement. This is talking about multi-employer bargaining. It's going to really benefit our sector. So why is it going to benefit our sector, and how is it going to benefit our sector? Well, the government wants to see our sector where there are a large number of employers. So just to put things into perspective, imagine that EBAs organised one centre one at a time across the thousands. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but the thousands of workplaces, early childhood services across the country. Imagine doing single deals in every single service. It would be a mammoth task, and it'd take years and years to organise. And we don't have years and years. And unfortunately, there are workplaces where those educators need support in approaching their employer on getting onto an EBA. So it's a mammoth task, and with a lot of services, they'll just miss out. So what multi-employer bargaining gives the sector is a better opportunity to get together and negotiate a multi-employer bargaining agreement, so a common pay deal. And that's why you've seen a lot of posts about the town hall meetings on the weekend. So Shirley and I are going to be going to the Brisbane event. So these town hall meetings are for us to keep an update on what's happening, for us to voice our concerns or ask questions. Educator HQ News is going to be reporting back as new information comes to hand. We're going to be on top of it. And the really important thing to be thinking about is becoming a union member. And if you're not, why aren't you? Reflect on that and think, well, what are the reasons why I'm not getting on board this campaign? Because now's the time to be joining our fellow educators to get on board and get the wages moving. What have educators been asking up until now? Like, I've been in the sector for 23 years, and I think I've been a union member for 22 of those years. And we've been fighting for wages for a long time, but this new workplace law change is going to be a really big game changer for us. At the moment, setting the standard campaign. So the big step setting the standard campaign is about union members that have collectively endorsed the setting the standard campaign. And they have three main goals that they're fighting for. So the first goal is getting the educator wages moving. A 25% increase is the number that's been asked for. So in order to do that, we need to get these agreements happening. Number two is getting the government to fund the wages. So that was a big ask of the Setting the Standard campaign, and that ask was for the 2023 budget to have that funding allocated to us for a wage increase. And for the budget that's just been announced, we know that that's not the case. We know that the aged care sector got 15%. And that's really why it's important to get to these town hall meetings and to stay tuned for meetings that might be coming up in your area if you're not near a capital city. And the third goal in the Setting the Standard campaign is to have a stronger representative voice for educators in the workplace. So again, nothing about us without us. But if we don't have representatives in services across the country, the sector shouldn't be missing out, or services shouldn't be missing out because they don't have representatives in it. That comes back to us. We're the educators. The educators make the union, and it's important for us to be representing the union's campaign to get these agreements happening in each service. So have a talk to each other, have a talk to your workmates. If you're an educator in a service and you're the only union member, have a discussion with people. Sign up a friend or two. If every current member committed themselves to having just one conversation with someone at work and joining them up, there'd be double the voice across the country. And that is really what is needed at the moment, for us to go to the government and say, you must fund wages. We know there's budget deficits and we hear about the doom and gloom, but you were able to find 15% for the aged care sector. And we're at the start of life. We're forming foundations for community. We're forming foundations for children to start off on the best foot. We could argue that, our sector's a lot more important than the aged care sector, but we're not going to diss them. It's fantastic that they got their wage increase, but what do we need to do to make sure that our voices are heard? Now, I know that it's hard. And as a sector, we've become a bit disheartened. As I said, I've been a union member for 21 years, and the Big Steps campaign started back in 2008, I think. And we've still got to have hope. We're flat, we're going through the motions, but those of you who remember last time Labor was in government, they funded a wage increase for us. And unfortunately, the Libs got in and it was all taken away. But multi-employer bargaining brings with it security. So that's enough of the politics and the history lesson. What we need now is for educators to get to town hall events, listen, see what the plan is going forward, and have your say. As I said, Shirley and I are going to go to the Brisbane event, and we're going to be reporting from the event and also doing a wrap up here on Educator HQ. And we'd love to hear from educators in other states and territories to hear what you have to say. What are the positives and negatives coming out of the meeting? Are there any questions or concerns? We want to know, because we want to have the discussion here on Educator HQ. Look, I hope this snippet about the laws has been helpful and explains what it's all about and how the sector's front and centre to the new laws coming into play. We want to see the wages improve. No one doesn't want to see wages improve, but we all need to play our part in getting it happening. So if you've got any other sector related news or information that you want to share, or you think that we should be covering other things, what are your ideas? Because we want Educator HQ to be your HQ. So tag your friends to the Educator HQ page, share it with each other. You'll find us on Instagram, Facebook, and all of our clips are going to be kept on YouTube. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel too to access those clips whenever you like. Stay tuned. There's a lot happening in this space, and we want to keep you updated as we get more information. So keep tuning in. And thank you. I hope this was really helpful, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.